Sorry, I was interrupted there by a notification on my phone. And by the way, case in point, we'll just use that as a teachable example. That would be one of the ways that this medium is the message. In other words, I've been interrupted, and it has altered my video. So you had to stop watching the other video. You had to find this one. You had to click play. Why? Because the technology that I'm using to communicate this message interfered with the message that human Peter, across the miles or maybe across town, depending on where you are, is trying to communicate to you. I was saying before, Mark Zuckerberg has always lived a socially distant life, and rather than attempt to grow or change himself, what he's done is he's attempted to impose his antisocial lifestyle, very successfully, by the way, on the masses. Why? Because he can use that to exploit us all for profit. Every time you log onto Facebook, every time you get angered by something, every time Facebook distracts you from what you really need to get done with your life, and regret spending time, on Facebook later for, Mark Zuckerberg makes money, because he all this time, the more time you spend online is more time he can sell to advertisers. Maybe you haven't specifically clicked on anything, and good job to you if you have avoided patronizing any of Facebook's advertisers. You shouldn't, and you should run from Facebook advertising like the plague, or like the fake news virus, which is taking over our nation and has been for a very long time. But the point is, the medium alters the message that we're trying to communicate. Just like it interrupted my video just now, so you have to watch. That's why I put censored by Twitter. So every time, if you've ever been censored by Facebook, it's like the fake news idiots who have been just warping the truth for years, and stupid Republicans keep on talking to them. And I realized over time the Republicans, I thought that the Republicans were being manipulated, but really it turns out the Republicans in Washington, D.C., they don't care about anything, and they actually like the two-party system because the Democrats give them an excuse to not outlaw abortion, to not shrink the federal government that's paying them a pretty penny. So that's kind of that's a little off topic, but the point is the fake news manipulated us for years, and our elected leaders, giving our elected leaders more than enough encouragement to really supplicate them instead of us, and make a name for themselves, even though it's turned into a bad name today. The reason I call my Twitter channel Censored by Twitter is because, and I think other people should too, just like I should rename my YouTube channel, is because if we've been censored by Facebook, by Twitter, it means that they're twisting our whatever. They're twisting our arms. They're making us represent. They're making us misrepresent ourselves, is what Silicon Valley is doing, and it's not an accident. They mean to play this very mean, coercive game. The Silicon Valley FANG companies, they are successfully not only censoring our videos, but in effect telling us, hey, if you say what we don't want you to say, then we're going to come at you, and we're going to take down your channel. So it almost does our loyal fans a disservice. I would be doing you a disservice, I think, if I continued to operate americasmansman.com under the same, to operate, my YouTube channel under the same name, or the Twitter channel, etc., and not say censored by whatever, Twitter, Facebook, Amazon, Apple, these very bad keyboard jockeys in Silicon Valley. And the reason is that I don't want to make any pretense as before Donald Trump, the Republicans did for years, that the fake news, or in this case, that Silicon Valley is not warping my message, because that's what they're doing. It may be, and they're doing it very effectively. The fact that it's not overt, the fact that they're not actually, they're not sending a censor out to me when I record these, and be it at home or in the car. They don't. The fact that they're not saying, oh, you can't say this one, you can't say this one, okay, re-record that video. No. They're just going to delete it. So they've gotten more sly than the fake news ever was at censoring, but it's censorship nonetheless, because and I try not to let them influence me. But at the end of the day, sometimes I have to make some really tough decisions. Well, gee, do I tell them the truth, or do I tell them the warped version of the truth that's similar enough to the truth that Google wants them to hear? And that's a very dangerous game, because if all of us, because of their out-of-control censorship of the American people, if all of us, who hasn't been censored by the Silicon Valley FANG companies because they're trying to impose their evil agenda, if we keep doing that, if we just keep ignoring it and just and kowtowing our messages to them, then we're doing our fans a vast disservice, because we're trying to break them out of the Skinner box stranglehold that the FANG companies have over them, where you just you don't say anything. You constantly kowtow to the lowest common denominator, just like the idiot box did once upon a time, because we don't want anybody thinking about stuff, because that would be bad, right? And this is the way Silicon Valley thinks. They don't want to lose advertiser dollars. So we should all call our channels censored by Twitter, because the medium is altering our message to that point. What do I mean by that? I mean that the nature of the collective advertising machine that funds our channels, our Twitter feeds, our Facebook pages, if we don't put up a warning to our viewers on a regular basis, because they'll forget if we don't remind them constantly. And the only way you can do that is by putting some kind of allusion to the fact that you're being censored in the name of the channel. Is the only way I can come up with, and at the very least in the description to the channel. Then over time, the evil FANG companies of Silicon Valley are going to be successful in appropriating us, the people who have these channels and who come here for a reason, to save the American people from the evils of the FANG companies and the fake news media. And they will have done this success if we don't constantly remind our audience, and our audiences will forget, and the FANG companies will continue to warp our message one video at a time. Censor this video, censor that video, so that eventually all of us truth tellers have lost our channels, and they've been fully successful in misrepresenting the heart and soul which makes America America, not only to other Americans but to the entire world, who unfortunately is trapped in the Skinner box of the FANG company online properties: Google, Netflix, Facebook, Amazon, the Fagin companies: Facebook, Amazon, Netflix, Amazon, Apple, Google, Netflix. This is America's Man's Man, on how the teachings of media theorist Marshall McLuhan applies to us today as YouTube. I don't call myself a YouTuber for that very reason, because YouTube is the idiot box on steroids. As online public figures, and as even creators of contentedness. And it's when you ignore kind of the larger game of media theory, when you forget the medium that you're talking on and how it warps your message, then you haven't just lost your audience, you've lost a bit of yourself. This is America's Man's Man, explaining once again how anyone who ever has uploaded a video for YouTube needs to stop pointing and shooting for a second and really understand what the medium of anti-social media like YouTube is really all about, and how it warps what's really in your heart, and how that's by design. AmericasMansMan.com. Thanks for watching.